Mississippi Road, Mississippi Road.
Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm blue. My disposition.
I've discovered with hobbies, sometimes you have them, sometimes they have you. And when I look at Jeff Lee's phonograph and record collection, I wonder which way it is.
Sometimes I love you, sometimes I hate you. But when I hate you, it's 'cause I love you.
Jeff Lee's extensive collection of 78 RPM records and cylinder recordings and phonographs are only the earliest machines, dating from the late 1800s and the early 1900s. In Jeff's Tupelo home, he has hundreds of old phonographs, all pre-electronic, all acoustic. And the hobby's grown so much, Jeff's wife invited him to clear out the garage and move his collection in there so she could have her house back.
When my wife and I got married 21 years ago, we bought an old house in New Albany, and we started going to yard sales, buying antiques and fixing them up. And every now and then I'd run across a beat-up old Victrola, and anything that didn't have to do with electricity kind of fascinated me. My father says I was born in the wrong century, but I told him I was born in the right century because I couldn't afford them back then. Most of the machines would have been a month's pay.
Now, I have to say Jeff's collection is fascinating to me, too. I've got a few old machines. Most of mine are electronic tube types. I have only a couple of crank players, and I never really cared for the acoustic machines because they didn't sound all that good to me. But some of these you'd think had magnetic cartridges and about a 200-watt amp in them.
But it's just the mechanics of them and just the fact that that little vibrating needle can make such a loud sound. Most people don't realize when you rebuild one exactly how good they sound.
Jeff's favorite machine for sound is this Victor plug-in model with an electric motor and an automatic changer. Now, picking up sound with a mic for this story is deceiving. The sound is tempered with ambient noise that the ear filters out, but the mic doesn't, plus shadings imposed by the mic that you don't hear standing in front of the sound horn. But even with the limitations, I think you can tell this is a wonderful sounding machine. Machine being the operative word. The playback is all mechanical and not electronic. But sound isn't everything. There's age. This is Jeff's oldest machine, an 1894 Columbia B. They called it the Eagle because a $10 Eagle gold piece would buy it. And it sounds like it cost about $10. Most machines were a lot more expensive. Now take, for instance, Jeff's favorite machine for looks, an old Victor Monarch with a wooden horn.
It's called a pre-dog machine because the tag doesn't have the nipper dog. It was before they started using that logo. And this machine cost $50 then, which was about 2 months' pay. So it was usually a pretty wealthy family that owned it. And you could have the black and brass horn, or you could bump up and get a wood horn. The wood horns usually don't survive in this good a shape because they're usually the humidity and stuff makes them crack.
Thomas Edison's first talking machine recorded sound on a sheet of tinfoil like this, wrapped around a cylinder. It didn't last over 2 or 3 playings. Then a process was discovered to make the cylinders permanent. Then someone decided to make records flat. At first they were recorded only on one side. Then next came the bright idea to put a different recording on the flip side. Then format wars erupted by making holes certain sizes for a machine that would only play one brand. And that didn't last. And soon the speed of 78 RPMs was pretty much standard, as well as the size of the hole in the record. But alas, all of this was brought to naught by the coming of the digital age, and just as with VHS and video, the CD knocked out the record in all its incarnations over the decades to the LP and the 45. But we became the first generation on Earth to have music plugged into our ears 24/7 from humble beginnings like these on display in Jeff Lee's garage in Tupelo, a collection he loves and adds to constantly.
For a copy of this program, call 601-432-6294 or send a check or money order for $14.95 to Mississippi Public Broadcasting, 3825 Ridgewood Road, Jackson, Mississippi, 39211. Please indicate the name and date of the program.